Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. I am your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond, here at the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm the guru of inspiration. And tonight, I am proud and honored to have Miss T Hubs here with us tonight. So, welcome, T.
Hey, thank you.
So we're gonna have a good time talking about your new upcoming book, you as a new author. But before we get into that, I'm gonna give the audience a bio of you and just who you are, and then I'm gonna actually ask you, to tell us more after that. So let's tell
Okay.
you who the T Hubs is. So Tamara
Yes.
T Hubs is a poet and a Christian rap artist that uses creative speaking as an outlet to express her feelings and thoughts. Her two poems, which were called She Versus Me and Scream, both featured on her Rachel's Tune album, have been streamed all across the country. She started writing poetry at 25 years ago when she wrote her first poem, Only Human, for a school project. After a great response from her classmates and being encouraged to read in front of the class, she knew that she had found her niche. How many know that you got to find your
You
niche? You
have to
got
find it.
Over the years, she has been embedded in her first ministry, which is her only son. Her ultimate goal in life was to make sure he stayed in the right path with God. T is a free spirit. Hold up. Let me say something about that. Free spirit. Like spirits, no spirits.
Yes.
With a slight quirkness, she says, and likes being the weirdo. How many know what did they say? What did they
Yeah.
say about somebody else that they were weird in the
Yeah.
Bible?
Right.
She boldly lives by standing for something or fall for nothing, for anything. And T stands strongly for her faith in Jesus. Her favorite scriptures are Psalms 34 and 4, Philippians 4 and 6, Matthew 6, 26 through 34. Her quote that she lives by: control love, don't let love control you. So,
Yes.
welcome, welcome, welcome. It's
Yes.
wow.
I'm so excited.
So T, we had a couple talks, about a month and a half ago, I think it is
Yeah.
now, about how you support family. And this is how I'm going to support family tonight because you have an awesome message. And, even with this book, but, just give the audience just a little bit more about who you are and
hmm
why this book.
hmm So like in my quote, control love and don't let love control you. That is a big part of where I came from and where this book came from, like She versus Me, because there were so many times I was in relationships, friendships, anything, any type of relationship, and I let that relationship control me. I let my love for somebody else control me instead of me having control. And when something else controls you, then you do whatever that thing wants you to do and you cater to that. And I was just in a point where I was in a battle within myself, and that's where She versus Me really came from. Just me fighting my inner battles, me fighting against who God initially has called me to be versus who I wanted to be, or versus who I thought I should be. And um, the battle of the mind is the greatest battle that any person would ever have. I mean, I battled suicide, homosexuality, just trying to find myself or my place in the world, from even things that have happened in past childhood life, and just trying to discover myself. And when I wasn't finding myself, um, I was just trying to end things. And, you just have, it's almost like, the devil and the angel in one ear. You got the angel over here, and then you got the devil over here telling you to do one thing, and you're just constantly battling yourself. But when you find your way to control love, then you can initially mute that person that is not supposed to be talking to you, and walk in your destiny and walk in who God has called you to be in that niche that God has given you.
And yeah, when you talk about in your bio, you mentioned that you have roles, and I can imagine you picturing you. We see it in the cartoons back in the day. We seen you got the angel on one side, you got the devil pitching you the pitchfork on the other side. But
Right.
as you mentioned, you have a role as a Christian rap artist and a poet. So
Mm-hmm.
with this book, which two does this book symbolize?
Ooh, it's a little bit of both, because there's definitely some poet in there. There's some poet of me in there, and then there's a little bit of the rap artist in there too. So there's definitely a little bit of both.
And one thing you didn't forget, you forgot about your dance. She danced under the anointing. I'm
Yes.
telling you, you forgot to put that in there, but you,
I
you
did.
but I did get. I was like, wait a minute, she forgot about that, but
I
she
did, and it's
really,
in my bio on my website. I did, because I realized, I was like, I forgot to put dancer, so it is
yes,
in my bio on my website. But thank
yes.
you for bringing that up, because dancing was definitely, other than my son, that's what I started doing first before anything. Yep.
And I'm gonna pull something else out. Modeling.
Oh. Yes. Yes, I have touched a little bit on some modeling. I used to do a lot of modeling when I was younger. Um, and I love modeling. I did. I did. I used to do like a few, just local commercials and stuff like that. And, of course, pictures. And then I did a few runway shows. But yeah, I did love modeling. I still
So I
touch it every
want
now and then in my own world, huh?
So I do want to say that we welcome Roxanne here tonight. Roxanne said, "Good evening, everyone," and
Hey, Roxanne. My hair's
she said,
falling.
"Very good book, a must read." I will say it
Oh,
is a
thank
must
you.
read. So, audience, we're gonna take a quick little break, but before the break, we have a video to tell you just to encaption the she versus me.
No one hurt me. The overflowing of the river sounding off as a gentle emotion, waving the devotion of the bigger ocean to an on forward march motion. Now I am focused, ready for a new start. No longer will I be a robot, where the words of Tripoli, no longer will I be brainwashed, a zombie lurking around trying to find this person they call me, interacting with jealousy and envy and not happy with being free. Time to make the acts of she the past of me. Well, who was she? Oh, you remember her. She is the one they called Pookie and said, "You're pretty," but still she felt inadequately disabled, 'cause God didn't show her the favor in the architecture of her figure. So she rebelled and forged a signature on some literature, which were life-changing documents that compelled her silhouette to bondage, giving herself to those who wanted just a hot commodity and only saw that one thing, and guiding her to that unsuccessful road of insecurity. What a relief. She was not me. Now I can move on to bigger and better things. Well, who was she?
Oh, you remember her. She was the one they called T. She listened to that muscular tone that sprouted from the Adam's apple when it said, I'm going to take you to the chapel. She even allowed the femininity of a new chapter bring rapture to her stature, which carried her character down the hill as she passed by Jack and went to Jill. Girl, you going to hell, but I love them, she said. But I lust them, is what she meant. And you are defiling your bed. Don't you remember what the word said? This in its creation is an abomination. Oh, but did I forget to mention that she also craves attention? But this will be the one that teaches her the lesson that she will never find love in a sex session. And you won't get your blessings until out comes the confessions and you are through with depression and those lonely nights you become content with. Now send that via text message, since that's the only way you communicate with it. Whew. Thank God she was not me. Now I can move on to bigger and better things. Well, who was she? You still have to ask me? She was Pookie. She was T. They thought she was me, but she was full of broken pieces, so she couldn't have been me. She was lost. She was hurt. She couldn't have been me. She was bitter and confused. Nope. She couldn't have been me. She was abused and emotionally used. She took every blow, every no, every time self-esteem made her feel low, every heartbreak that caused an heartache, creating an earthquake in her heart and her mind. Now they lie desolate on the side and her soul cries. My, I'm so glad she was not me. Now I can move on to bigger and better things. I can finally look beyond this flesh and see what the spirit brings. A new beginning, my true identity. Finally, I have broken the chains of she, and she has become the testimony. So now I'll introduce you to me. The start of a new day and a new directional way. I am capital TAMYRA.
Wow. Yes, yes. So, you guys out there, I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond of Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, Guru and Inspiration. And tonight, I have my fabulous niece, Miss T Hubs, who is on here tonight talking about the she versus me. If you, I'm telling you, better go back and catch the replay, because even through that, I can identify some of myself through that. So, one of the things that I love, look, you're getting some awesome. It's saying Takara
Thank you,
Dickinson said,
guys.
wow, that was awesome. Yes, it was awesome. And we have some more stuff that's coming up. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm telling you, that was phenomenal. I felt myself in that. I found myself in that. And look, Lisa Wilson says deep, deep. So Tamara, I love the fact that you got numerous chapters in this book. Because when I first got it, I was like, wow. It's a thick book. It's a thick book. But I'm telling you, cannot put the pages down. If that does not get you to go purchase one of these, once you get all the detail, you need. As the back to see, someone of us, our friends, says, buy 20 of them. Buy 20 of them. After this, buy 20 of them. And I have to get that disclaimer out to Victoria Holland, one of our friends. She says, go buy and purchase 20 of them. Now, after you saw
Oh.
that, you can't put the book down. I'm telling you. And what I love about it in the beginning, you wrote this disclaimer. And let me share what the disclaimer says. I loved it. I love how you did this before you started the chapter. Before we begin this journey, please be advised that this book contains words that aren't words. But if you ask me,
Yeah,
they should be.
they should be.
Let's go. Now, wow, explain this. Explain that to me, why you put that
I would
in that
love to.
disclaimer. I loved it.
Okay, so I have a habit of just saying words, especially being a Christian rapper and a poet. You think of words that rhyme with stuff, and I'm like, Dad, was that a word? And then I'm like, well, why can't it be a word? I can make it up. It can mean whatever I want it to mean. And so my son will be like, he'll ask me, Mom, is this a word? If he says something, and I'll say, if you want it to be a word, why can't it be a word? All the words that are in the dictionary, somebody had to make them up. So why can't I make up words too? So as I was writing the book, my editor, or one of the editors, Jamaica, she was like, girl, this, or she would say things like, or I would ask her, is this a word? Or we would go about, is this a word? And I was like, I want that to be a word. That's going to be a word. So in certain points in the book, if I didn't feel like it defined itself, then I would give you my definition of what I thought that word meant. And so I also put that disclaimer at the beginning for all the English majors that would read the book and be like, that's not a word. Well, to me, it is a word. So that's
And
where
who
that
says it?
came
You're
from.
right. You're right. Who says it can't be a word? Somebody had to make Webster. Webster had to make some words. How we know if
Thank
he right?
you. Right. That's what I say. How do you
How
know
do
if
we
all
know
those
if
other
he's right?
words are words?
Yeah, I mean, it's I sit back and I look at it, I'm like, we have to put out some disclaimers. But to me, that disclaimer you put when you said ask me, and how I'm thinking of it, it's in your title, she versus me, because
Me.
even in that, did you have to ask she or did you have
Right.
the real me? And we're gonna
That's
go a
the
little
real
bit
me.
more deeper into that because there's certain chapters that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But
Okay.
one of the things that I love you were talking about, because even in the she versus me, you saying she versus me, it wasn't her within me.
Mm,
Wow. And
mm,
then you have in your chapter that's called Identify Yourself.
mhm.
There was a quote, and I'm telling you, I'm all through this book. I done highlighted that book up. I'm talking about I done highlighted this book up so much because it was so many quotes in it. Because I'm a quote person.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
too.
me
I
too.
think I say this too as a creative. I think we so much of the quotes. We
Mhm,
do a lot of quotes and we put these words and stuff together. But I love it in your chapter. You had identify yourself.
mhm,
There was one quote. I want you to, share this with the audience. It says,
mhm.
sometimes you can bury things away so deep
Mm.
that you can forget that those feelings or situations ever existed. Now that's your
Yes.
journey. Now that's why you talking about the journey there
Yes.
with this. So can you explain to the audience, just give a little bit of historical, you said a little bit earlier, but
Mhm.
pertaining to that chapter, because I know when you're thinking about these writings, what made you identify with that, would identify yourself with
Mhm.
that?
Um, so what made me identify with that was when I first started feeling feelings of homosexuality again. And I say again because they had, and this was like in my um high teen, early 20 years. And I was like, when somebody had approached me and, I started feeling these feelings again. And I was like, whoa, where did these feelings come from? And I started thinking, and I started reliving some situations from my past. They started like coming back to me once that happened. And I was like, oh crap, I used to feel like this when I remember having these feelings when I was in like fourth and fifth grade. I remember going through some instances when I was in some situations when I was in like third and fourth grade, playing house with a friend of mine and who was a girl, and things that we used to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is where those feelings originated from. But time just continued to go on, and I started to forget about those feelings. And initially I just buried them until something drug that up from the grave. And I was like, oh my gosh, I used to have these feelings before. This isn't new to me. This is just something that I hid for so long that it just buried, and I just initially lost it. But when it came back, then all those feelings started to come back again, and I started remembering more and more in other situations till I was like, wait a minute. So yeah, that's what I meant by that quote.
Wow. And you know what? I looked at I follow you. We support each other.
Absolutely.
With this month being Pride Month and people, with the LGBT community, even to the fact of Billy Porter coming out saying, and I will say that I've watched Pose because
Mm-hmm.
I need to learn about the community. And how
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to learn about the community because they're still people. We still, they're still people. And
Mm-hmm.
we have to work in these societies or be around people.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, I'm grateful that you came out with that because
Mm-hmm.
again, so many people are not transparent with that. And that's
Right.
one of the things that Billy Porter said when he had his Tamara Hall, and he's going all around now about how much freedom. And then you brought up something earlier. You talked about how it was the faith, and I looked at the episode that he had about it was the church that crucified him even more
Mm-hmm.
to what it was. So, identifying it, but you try to bury it, but then to see how it raised itself back
It
up,
raises back up.
it raised itself back up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where I'm going to talk about, and as I said before, um, talk about the puppet master.
Mm.
Um, because when you said the puppet master, when I read this, I was like, now I don't know. I think you're a little bit too young to remember the movie Puppet Master. I don't know. It might be still you might can find that, but I was like, I don't know. But I actually went and looked at what a puppet master does. And I
Mm-hmm.
know you had it as round two. So Bella, you had to have a round one
Yeah.
this puppet master. So, and what I love about it, you said the puppet master. So, a puppet master, for those who don't know, a puppet master, it says it explains as a person. But check this out. We just thinking it's a person. How many in the audience? I'm going to throw that question out there. How
Mm-hmm.
many in the audience thought that a puppet master is just one person?
Mm.
It's not.
Mm-mm.
Check this out. A puppet master could be one person, a group,
Mm.
or a country
Ooh.
that controls another. Now,
Jeez.
I'm going back to your title of your
Mm-hmm.
book, The She versus Me. How
Mm-hmm.
many identities? See, and you talk about your chapter, Puppet Master, because, like I said, it says round two, Puppet Master, but you had to have a round one.
Right.
But
Right.
think about it. I said, oh, that's really deep. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, we see it as a puppet master controlling little things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought back to the movie, how this puppet master said one thing, these little things went on. But we thinking it's just that one man, but all of that entity can comes in together.
Mm-hmm. That's one. And she was definitely many, many identities.
So,
She was many. I mean, because there was like suicide, depression, anxiety, homosexuality, anger, rage, frustration, manipulation. Um, I was a thief. I mean, there was like so many realms of she that were controlling me that that's why I called it the puppet master, because it was like I could not get away. Every, like you said, the little thing going this way, just controlling you. Every time I tried to walk away, something pulled me back. Every time I tried to go this way, something pulled me back. And the round one was in one relationship, a heterosexual relationship that I was in. Round two was a homosexual relationship that I was in, where I actually got away and my life was going great. But then, the puppet master came, sucked right back in. So, yeah.
yeah. So yeah. So again, audience, this is Miss T Hubs, the creator and author of She versus Me. You gotta get the book. You gotta get the book. It's so exciting. So exciting. So right now, we're gonna take a little commercial break and we'll be right back. Well, welcome back. I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond with the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. And I am here with my lovely niece, Miss T Hubs, the author, creator, Christian rap artist, dancer, on and on and on. You guys are in for a treat tonight. She's explaining, this is actually this could be a documentary. I'm saying that because I have a friend on here, and welcome Kiana Brown. She
Kiana.
might understand, I understand her journey. So, this is a message. It's a message within that because again, we talk about you got to identify. You had this Peter versus me. You let so many things, and then we try to suppress it like it never happened.
Yes.
And I commend you for being transparent because that's what people really want, the realness of you and being transparent. And I see that throughout the whole book. And I'm like, again, you cannot put this book down once you get it. I can tell you right now, Sister Roxanne on here, we had conversations about it.
Oh my gosh.
We've had conversations about this book. And it just is. And I'm just saying, we as indie authors and indie creators, this is where we need to, the support from people like that. So, I don't even know where to begin because woo, I just want to give the audience. I'm not going to give them all the chapters. I'm just going to give a few. And I might ask you, I know all of them your favorite, but what particular one would you say would be how did you put, first of all, let me ask you, how did you put all of this together?
When I tell you this was nobody but God, because sometimes I look through some of these chapters and I'm like, how did I even come up with that? So I would write the chapter and then it would be like, oh, okay, this is going to be called that. Whatever I felt the overall summary of that chapter was whatever I felt it was, that's what I put the name of the chapter as. I wasn't trying to be too deep. I wanted it to be as simplistic as possible. Some of the chapters you won't understand until you actually read it. But yeah, that's pretty much how I came up with it all. It was just writing the chapters and revelating, and then I would put the name to, which is crazy because that's how I do when I write songs or when I write poetry too. I'll actually write the whole poem, have no idea what I'm writing about, and then I'll be like, okay, this is called this. So I did it the exact same way. I carried the same writing style as I do when I write music or when I write poetry.
So I will say that you guys, you got to tune in to a little bit later because you are going to get a snippet of her spoken word. But I like I said, and Roxanne said, we are all in these chapters. And as if you didn't catch it earlier, I'm just going to give a little bit of spew of her she versus me. A few of the words that I can find myself in. Again, I told you I can find myself in every part of this book. It's saying she was lost. Some of us been lost. We know we were hurt. Mm-hmm. And we feel it's not, this couldn't happen to us. This couldn't be happening to me. I've been better. I've been confused. So nope. That couldn't have been me. Again, you suppressing what you don't want to see.
Right.
But then at the end, when you affirm it, and I think when you said it, the finale on that, you have to go back. I'm telling everybody, you need to go back and watch the replay of this from that beginning of that. When you said, I am capital.
Capital. That was important. Capital.
That you said capital. The T, the A, the M, the Y, the R, the A. You knew who you were. That was like a breaking point. And I know we're going to give the next because I know you screamed that out. Yes. So audience, we have a little clip for you. So just sit back and watch this.
Captivated and domesticated, trapped in a world of mass invasion. Depression is aggressively teaching a lesson to the apostrophe of my majesty, leaving my destiny in pure agony and screaming for a release of my soul. This repelling and excelling pain. Ooh-wee. I feel you, Job. So God, I know you will return to me tenfold. The returning of my mind that the cankerworm had stole. When Satan whispered in my ear, give me your soul and life. Aren't you tired of all these tears, strife, and lonely nights? Suicide, it's a suicide, is the mission you preside. Satan, you don't have the power to make me die. So you get in my head and convince me to take my own life. Yeah. And it almost worked that one night when you threatened my thoughts and produced an alt between my mind and my heart. Or when I took those pills and I chased them with beer and I laid on that chair and I didn't even care what happened next. As a matter of fact, I told God I better not wake up. Or when I contemplated with that knife in my hand about slitting my wrist and ending God's plan. Or when I drove late at night and examined just letting Satan have the wheel and remove myself from the spiritual famine and closing the deal. But you are not the lawyer nor the judge of this fatal attraction called love. I feel like screaming, ah! Suicide is the suicide, is the mission you preside. Satan, you can't kill me, so you tried to provoke me to take my own life. I just needed something. Something was better than nothing, and definitely better than this pain I feel in my heart. I just want to feel numb to everything. It's weird, I just wanted to feel nothing. No one understands this pain, this hurt of feeling unloved and feeling alone. And even when you're not alone, you still feel so lonely. Trapped in your own skin and constantly battling yourself, afraid of yourself, and inside you're screaming, no, no, don't leave me alone with her. She's gonna kill me. But no one ever heard me. They left me. And she kept trying to kill me. She told me that nobody loved me. She told me that not even God, and that even God had given up on me. And I would be better off in hell than living this screwed up thing called life propelled. How they never heard my screams. I remember it was fall of 1996, and we were about to leave for a basketball game, and I had a rough time in school that day with someone that I thought I loved. And for some reason their feelings had changed, and they no longer felt the same, and they were actually in love with someone else. So before the game, I reached up in that medicine cabinet at my grandmother's house, and I grabbed a full bottle of aspirin. Yes, this was premeditated. I knew what I wanted to happen. I already knew what she was planning to do. The entire ride to school, I cried, hollered, and screamed. Ah! But no one heard me. I yelled, help! She's trying to kill me! Save me! Ah! But no one heard me. No one heard me.
Every time I watch that, I just get like,
I'm sitting here watching your face. I'm watching your face, and I'm loving. That was deep. I mean, everything that you just did was deep. And I want the audience, and you got some quotes coming in there. Hey, Joan, Henry Fields, thank you for joining in tonight. Kiana Brown says this is a great work of art that will help heal so many. Keep pushing, my sister. Roxanne says, I loved in the book when you said God saved you from yourself.
That's it.
Said, wow.
That's it. Because as you see in that video, like, it was just like that voice, like, that kept telling me nobody loved me, but then, like, I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wouldn't tell anybody what I was going through. I always tried to be the strong one. I always tried to act like I had it all together. But inside, I was dying. So, my biggest enemy was it was myself. And so, yes, God saved me. God didn't have to save me from nobody else. He saved me from myself, my own wicked thoughts, my own wickedness.
Wow. And, I love the fact that you brought on the picture of, suicide. Nobody really, you're right. Everybody might say they're fine. We need to check on a friend, check on a family, because might not be fine. They might be underlined. I tell people all the time, we look at Robin Williams. Look how happy and jolly this man was.
Right.
And he taking suicide. He take on. Look at
especially our culture.
Yeah,
our culture won't talk about two things. Our culture really won't talk about is, those two things are homosexuality and suicide. And the minute that something happens, they think it's a different culture, with suicide. And like, I'm telling you, I've tried. So when I say he saved me from myself, that was legit. Like, I have tried. I wasn't somebody that just talked about it or said, I want to do it, or calling people saying I'm going to do it. No, I didn't call anybody and say I'm going to do it. I tried to do it. When I realized it wasn't working, then I called somebody like, listen, I need you to come over here and help me. Can you, stuff like that. But there were several times that I tried, and God saved me from myself.
Wow. This whole book, again, I'm going to put the disclaimer out there. This book is a must read
Thank you,
because
Auntie.
it's something that you said too on the cover. Matter of fact, let me show the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show this. And look how thick it is. I'm telling you.
It's
It's
thick. I
like
got a
it's
lot to
a
say.
knowledge book.
I'm
It's like a
very
knowledge.
wordy.
But
That's
as you just said, T, you said it was the war within me, a
mm-hmm.
creative memoir. That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
That those are the things that you said to keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna take a quick break, one more break, and then we're gonna. If anybody have any questions, feel free to like and share this video. We're gonna have her also do a little creative spin on her other creativity talent. So you're in for a treat. I actually throw that sidebar in there as we were coming on earlier, so she didn't have no idea that this was gonna happen. But we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Through drought and famine, natural disasters, my baby has been around for me. Kingdoms are falling, angels be calling. None of that could ever make me leave. Yeah. Every time I look into your eyes, I see it. You're all I need. Every time I get a bit inside, I feel it. Ooh, who would have thought I'd get you? Ooh, who would have thought I'd get you?
Well, welcome back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. And I am here tonight with my special guest, Miss T. Hubbs, the author and creator of The She versus Me. I'm going to say the reason why that commercial was shown, because I just want to share with everyone, as you know, that a Seize the Moment, that was back in 2017, my very first book. And I want people to know that this platform is used for new creative authors that they can come on and share about their books. And if any new ideas that you think that'll be inspiring. So that is one of the reasons why the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul is here, because it says the guru of inspiration. So yes, this is what it's all about. So T, I don't even know where to go with this. This is just like, so we got like a few more minutes left. Oh, and Coach Matt Green says, I must purchase the book. Yes, Coach Max Green, we want you to purchase the book. So just stay tuned. We're going to make sure you get all the information, where to get this book. And hey, you never know where this is going to go. Dave Ray Webster says, T, you're famous.
Hey, David.
So you so yeah, I'm like, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm love supporting family. And that's,
Yes.
I always say that. That's one of my genres, about supporting families,
Always say
because
that.
I always say that I'm all about supporting family. I'm about supporting anybody. Anyway,
Yeah.
if you do
Yes, you
something
are.
good, doing something inspirational, I'm here for you. Now, if all that negative, positive stuff, I'm not here for it.
Right.
But no. That negativity stuff, no. I'm all about positive here. But so, we talked about, your chapters, and some of the few that stuck out with me that I loved. Roxanne says, your book shined a light on so much that attacks us. You said a human A human habitat is society, fitting in, being accepted or rejected, battling who you are and who you want to be. Thank you, Roxanne, for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because I also want to share, T, a couple weeks ago, you had put out a picture on your page, and you made a quote about it. Who are we, talking about Dwayne Wade's little girl? Well, the son then transformed to the transgender, whatever. And I love the message that you put with that, because again, that could be something that they're battling with, the he versus she. I mean, you just don't know. And I love the way that you simplified that, because again, as we say, the community, we don't talk about it. The church overweighs sees it, but they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. It's like swept under the rug with most of everybody in the choir, or the choir directors, or whatever else. And I mean, it's just one of those things, and it's just one of those things. But I love the portions of the chapters. I love the whole book, but it was just a few that stuck out with me, and I'm gonna give the audience a few names of the chapters. So, reverse the curse. We talked about a little bit about identify yourself. Wake up letters, and these letters of lessons.
Yes, that's my. You asked me what my favorite chapter was before. That's my favorite chapter. The letters to lessons. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Unwrapping the zombie and find the pieces.
Yes. So let me explain unwrapping the zombie. I'm not going to explain the chapter, but just
no. We're not giving up no more. They got enough information.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into the chapter, but that is definitely fulfilling for the chapter. But I was in between when I first started getting the idea for this book. About 10 years ago. Okay. And when I first got the idea for the book was going to be called Tales of a Brainwashed Zombie. And so I wanted one of my chapters to be a representation of what the book was going to be called before. But I do want to say that I am so glad that God did not allow me to put this book out 10 years ago, because this book came out now from a place of healing, restoration, provision, understanding, release. If I had put this book out 10 years ago, it would have been more of a tell-all book, more of like a video vixen book, more of like, it would have been a book from hurt, because 10 years ago, there were still some pieces that I needed to put together. There was still some healing that needed to be done. There was still some forgiveness that needed to be, gotten. Either people may have needed to forgive me, or I may have needed to forgive some people. So I am so glad that 10 years ago, the book didn't happen, and that now it can happen, because God gave me so much wisdom in writing this book, and writing from a place of healing versus a place from hurt.
Yeah, and that's what you want it to be, because as you see, video vixens, none of that stuff is around anymore. It's like on the archives. So what you're saying is, when you write from a place of healing, it's manifested itself, and that's what I can say too. Things have thoughts and stuff, desires that I thought should have been writing at the right time, but for me, it took me 12 years for the first book. It took a situation to happen, and I wrote from the place of a healing, and that's when you know that it's gonna do what it's supposed to have done.
Right.
So Ranisha Fosk is on here. She said, as I'm reading the book, I find myself in the book. Trust me, people are going to be healed, set free. And I love what she just said. Not delivered, but delivered.
With a T. Okay. That's what I want. I want them delivered. Yes.
Delivered. delivered
That
with
is
the
what I
T.
want. Because
And I see
I
that.
remember that commercial or that video where that guy said that. And you know, he
I've
was
been
talking about his
delivered.
deliverance.
I've
Yes.
been delivered.
Yes.
Yep.
And he
Yep.
was for real. He was feeling that. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
And
what I
he
want.
screamed it. He
He
screamed it in
screamed
the
it.
mic. He
And
screamed it in
people
the
make
mic.
fun of it. And you know, it was funny, but yes, that is what I
Yeah.
want. That is
Yes.
what I want. Because you know, I'll put a T on something quick. We make up words. I make it up. It's
So
okay.
Roxanne said, I cried through the first 3 chapters. I know. And that's what I said to you. We had a conversation about that. I'm like, you really, really have to really go into it. You really have to go into it. So, you know, we got 9 more minutes, T. So, you know, as I told the audience and I asked you,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to do I chose me.
Mm-hmm.
Use I chose me. Now
Mm-hmm.
listen, audience. She's gonna do it from her poetic
Yeah.
side. So whenever you're ready,
Okay.
you can go.
All right. The greatest war that you will ever have to fight against is who? Yup, you. Mind versus heart, flesh versus spirit, past versus future. In my case, it was she versus me. Listen, life became different when I figured out I could put a name to my hurt. She was my hurt. And I used she as a personal affectionate pronoun to get me by in life. Don't worry, y'all. I'm not crazy anymore. I needed a way of escape. I needed to name what was tearing me apart and causing me to vanish. I didn't develop she to pass on the responsibility of my actions, but to separate the good from the bad. We all have experienced the bad, right? There was something in me that was fighting against what God's will was for my life, and I was determined to find it. Suicide tried to take me out. Anxiety had me depressed. And being a lesbian had me confused and put my identity in a serious crisis. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Life is so invigorating, and you can do with it what you please. Your choice. You can break yourself down in any way that you want to figure yourself out. I did. So come and take a ride with me. Let's journey through this path of choices. Yes, choice. It's a gift that is freely offered to us from God. Be careful though. It can come with serious consequences. Did you know that you can choose to be free? For years, I walked around with chains on, and I had the key in my hand the whole time. And I had the key in my hand the whole time. I had the key in my hand the whole time. Crazy, right? I thank you for going on this journey with me. As I go deeper, you will be introduced to my mechanisms, those who made she and me. So put your seatbelts on and buckle up, buttercups. It's going to be a long ride. Sincerely, me.
Woo! You done got it. So got it. You audience, you have been blessed with a treat. I also want the audience to know, uh-oh, mommy's
Oh,
on here. Hey, mommy.
love you, mommy.
You come see her, baby. Yes.
Yes, she will always come see about me.
Yes, yes. Tight knit family, tight knit family. So one of the things I will let the audience know is that you guys actually have seen a premiere of the videos that has not even got out yet. So you guys have been blessed. This is actually the first. Oh, we're getting all kinds of hands up. Love
Oh,
you.
thank you, David.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So, you know, in the last, we got like 6 more minutes to tell the audience where they can find you. Well, I see your website is up. It's running across it's on the podcast right now, featured out. So just give the audience where they can find you, where they can book you, because it's on nowhere but up for right now.
Yay.
Nowhere but on up.
Thank you. So you can find me, of course, on my website that is posted now, and I think Jamaica also posted it too. www.thubs.com, www.thubs.com. And if you would like to book me for spoken word, poetry, speaking, anything, you can find it there. You can purchase the book there. You can also purchase this lovely t-shirt there
I
that
can't
says
wait to get mine. I'm waiting to get mine.
I got you.
Hopefully I'll get it on Sunday.
Yes, you will. You
Putting
will.
that plug in. I got to put another plug in. Auntie Landis is on here too.
Oh, hey, Auntie, what'd she say? Hey, love
She
you,
said, I
Auntie.
love you.
I love you too. I love you too. The book is also on every like major platform. It's on Amazon. So if you rather have Kindle, you can get it on there. The paperback is on there too. It's on barnesandnoble.com. It's on walmart.com. It's on every major platform. Hint, hint, it is a little more expensive on there. I did that on purpose so that everybody could go to my website. So if you want, a little deal, then go to my website, www.thubs.com. Only because, I put a lot into this book, so I would rather more people be drawn to me than, those sites. But, I put it on those sites just because there are, of course, people that journey through those sites that will look upon the book and find it because they don't know me and how to actually reach me yet. But yeah, that's about it.
And on Sunday, I'm pushing you. I'm
That's
pushing
right. Thank you.
On Sunday, for those who are here locally in this DMV region area, especially here on the shore, tell them where you're going to be because her auntie will be representing her on Sunday.
Yes. Hold on, let me find it. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Where is it? Okay. So we are Auntie is going to be representing me on Sunday. You can buy your books and t-shirts there. It will be at 4020 East Market Bypass in East New Market, Maryland, 21631. Wear your masks. So they will have a lot of many vendors out there, and they will also have, if you're familiar with Aunt Mary's Soul Food Kitchen from Milford, they will be out there. I hope they bring their somebody listening, because I hope they bring their egg roll, their crab egg rolls. They're a bomb. But yes, Soul Food Kitchen will be out there. And yes, you can purchase your book out there. Auntie will be representing me. Blessings to her, because I can't make it. Well, I'll come after later on, but she will be out there. So yes, again, that will be at 4020 East New Market Bypass, East New Market, Maryland. Oh, and one more thing. Is it over?
No.
Okay. Also on June 19th, Saturday, I believe Auntie's going to be performing too. Aren't you performing that day? She is performing her song, Seize the Moment. I'm also dancing. That's it. Do you know the address to that? It's in Denton. It's going to be
It's on the main street, Market Street.
East Market, Market Main Street,
203 Denton, Maryland.
Maryland. I'm going to be dancing and doing a tribute to Harriet Tubman. And also we'll have a table set up somewhere out there. So if you can't make it to East New Market and you don't, you haven't went to the website and you want to meet me out there, can meet us out there. Yeah.
Yay! So T, I would like to say thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank
you.
Upfront
Mind Body is so thank
you so much.
It's been my pleasure again. For those of you, this is Miss T. Hubbard. She is the creator. She's a Christian rap artist. She's a dancer and much, much more. Please go out and support her. And as well, if you like anything that you have heard so far on the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, please hit me up as well. You want to hear more of what shows, ideas. I'm into taking those. But very exciting next week. We have Kane Collective next week, who was a signature vegan mixer drink. It can be either a mocktail or a cocktail. They're actually going to be coming next week to show us some summer cool breeze drinks with some of their mixes. So you don't want to miss that. That is actually a learning. So if you actually want to purchase a mixer drink, it's a set for like $30. You can actually go to their website to it as well, or you can contact with me and I can give you the information on how to get that. So yeah, I'm gonna have a mocktail next week. I see he posted something new, so I am ready to take a dip with the sip next. So T, anything else you would like to take? Just one encouraging word with someone who's battling within their self.
I will always go back to control love and don't let love control you. And that just means don't lose yourself in the process. It's okay to be in a relationship and love somebody, but do not let that relationship control you and overtake you and take you away from who you are. Always just be you and don't let situations take you over and control you to where just never lose yourself for anybody.
All right, you done heard it here. So thank you guys. Thank you all for tuning in to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. Until next week, be blessed and hopefully have a great and prosperous week on purpose.
Yay.